And of course, it started out pretty much as Hong Kong versus Macau drivers, as amateurs back in 1954, when it really was just a little bit of a fun thing to do at the end of the year. But as it's grown and as its prestige has grown, the organisers have been very careful and very smart to make sure that the amateur drivers, the local guys who may not, and I say that carefully now because a lot of these guys now are up to professional level, but there's always been room for amateurs and one-off drives at Macau, and it keeps it the essence of the event, which is professionals and amateurs gathering for a motor race. And so this, in its own way, is a very, very huge part of the Macau Grand Prix, and one that I hope continues for a long time to come. Now with the GT World Cup, of course these guys aren't going to challenge those guys, but they still get a chance to take on the circuit they love, and the circuit they own, of course.
And every year, the bar is raised just that little bit higher. We saw another one of the local support races yesterday for the local touring car race. Capacity grid we had, 36. They have a sort of a mini championship, essentially, to qualify for that race. Unfortunately, we didn't have too many racing laps, but we did get a glimpse into the level of preparation, the professionalism of the teams. The Sun City Racing team yesterday taking, all bar 2 of a potential 6 podium positions yesterday, and a very professional team indeed. What a circuit this is, the envy of the world. There are drivers all the way around the world looking at the racing this weekend, and quite a few of them that have experienced the gear circuit before are slightly envious of the drivers that have made it here. And the local drivers, as they line up and get ready for the start of their race, this is their chance to shine on a world stage. Great view of the grid. Super racing cars, and one thing that they do in this region of the world is to pay careful attention to the livery of the car, and inevitably we have a very colourful grid lining up. And for the Sun City Group Greater Bay Area Lotus Cup, incredibly impressive the liveries that they come up with. Matt Carlock, pole position, car number 4, did a time of 2:47.307 alongside Kong King Chong with a time of 2:47.938. That's the front row of the grid being cleared now. The BMW safety car about to go into action to lead the field around as the last few guests and officials clear the grid to leave just the car and driver ready for 12 laps around the gear circuit.
And interestingly, these tiny cars, these Lotuses, have a 3.5-litre Toyota-based engine, Lotus badged, and they're very powerful. The power-to-weight ratio, very, very impressive. You'll be familiar with Lotus Elises. You see a lot of those around. The Evora came into fruition, and this is effectively an evolution of the Evora. It started off with a 1.8-litre engine, and then they upped it for this spec. If you're looking at the road-going version, about 52 grand. Or thereof, and that's pounds I'm talking, or euros.
And you'll certainly turn heads. Here we go. This is the grid for our local support race today. On pole position, Matt Carlock, car number 4, alongside Kong Kin Chong in car number 50. Lokar Phai is on the inside of the next row of the grid in car number 10, alongside Alexander Au in car number 3. 99, Eurico de Jesus is on the inside of row 3, alongside Clement Lee in car number 85. 77 is Su Leng Hong in car number 77, alongside him Clement Tong in car number 18. 88 is the car of Wong Kar Hong, and alongside the number 29 car of Lo Hui Fong in car number 29. Yu Kam Chong is in car number 22, alongside Lok Chi Kit in car number 36, with car number 8 on the inside of row number 7. That's Liang Kwok Kern in car number 8, alongside car number 2, which is Brian Lai. 8th row of the grid, Anthony Chan in car number 28, James Wong in car number 23. Then we have car number 9, and that's the car of Hong Shu Zhao, and alongside Ray Mack in car number 27 on its own on the final row of the grid. 19th car on the grid, car number 38, Clearbold Chan. takes you down the grid. The nerves begin to rise. The pulse begins to rise as well. 12 laps around the circuit in these identical Lotus Exige cars for the Sun City Group Greater Bay Area Lotus Cup.
All identical, and that's what's so beautiful about this. No one's got an advantage. It's all about taking on the circuit in equal machinery. The best man should win.
The best man took pole position, the best man on the day, Macau Lock, who has been involved in the Macau Grand Prix support races for many years and has experienced success here at Macau as well. Just to get on those top 3 places on the podium is a huge celebration. Just to get to the checkered flag is a huge mission accomplished. And as they make their way around the circuit now, getting the tyres up to temperature, getting everything nice and warm to get the best possible start. They'll be starting, as we saw for the local touring car race yesterday, behind the safety car, so a rolling start. They'll line up behind the pace car, side by side, according to the 10 rows of the grid, and then a rolling start to get 12 laps of racing underway. Now, yesterday, it's fair to say that the touring cars did not get a huge amount of racing laps. However, success was just as sweet as if they'd done 12 racing laps.
Exactly, yeah. The celebrations, I think, are still continuing.
Yeah, they would have gone well into yesterday evening because of course, the touring cars, the local touring car race, not racing today here at Macau, but it gave us the best podium celebration you could ever hope for from the Sun City Group racing team. It was the Sun City Group Greater Bay Area Lotus Cup race that we're about to see. It was the Food for You Macau Touring Car Cup that we saw yesterday. They can enjoy this race as well, having completed their racing. Down through Lisboa they go, up towards San Francisco, and then the climb up the hill. And now this is the ultra demanding section of the circuit where the barriers close in upon you as you go up the hill. It's such a sight to stand at the bottom of that hill and look up when cars aren't racing and you think, do they race up here? Can they race up here? Yes, they do. Year after year here at Macau. But make no mistake, those barriers loom closer and closer as the race goes on.
Cleverly designed though as well, because you'll see gaps in the barriers where they choose to where to put the cranes. They can see them dangling down there just beside maternity, and also chances to pull off cars that effectively break down or hit a barrier and can't get under steam themselves. They can push them back and push them forward out of the way, and also allowing the marshals to get onto the track as soon as possible. The design of this circuit is quite unique, and also the way that they've tangled the roads around the circuit to avoid coming to a complete standstill, because life goes on here at Macau in the distance. So it's a very cleverly engineered progression of making this into a race circuit from an ordinary street.
Yep, taxis and buses all appearing outside the paddock. Some people being brought here, some people being brought to the ferry terminal just over the road. Just one means of getting to mainland Hong Kong from Macau and Taipa.
And now, of course, the bridge themselves.
The bridge as well.
A bridge that is probably the longest in the world, just opening up. You can take a bus from Hong Kong all the way to Zhuhai and here at Macau. Soon to be open to regular traffic.
9 years it's taken to complete the bridge and open in 2018, and already doing good business, and a huge feat of local engineering has put together that incredibly long bridge.
And another reason why we call this the Greater Bay Area and why this race is named after that is because that bridge will literally join the Greater Bay Area together, and this SAR, as is Hong Kong, will be a very, very special part, and it already has been over the centuries, but now in its new iterance as a gambling capital and a tourism capital, Macau, and Hong Kong still a very logistic, shipping and banking capital, a huge part of the economy of southern China.
So as they thread their way around the area where no overtaking is permitted, there would barely be room for two of these cars side by side with the GTs, the FIA GTs that we'll see later on. There isn't room for two of them side by side. In fact, when we first got the GTs out this weekend, a few of them had trouble getting around the Macau hairpin. That has been worked upon and resolved. We had a super race yesterday for GTs. We're looking forward to that a little bit later on today. But for now, it's all about the Sun City Group Greater Bay Area Lotus Cup. And as the cars come round into order behind the BMW safety car, the official safety car, the official course car of the 65th running of the Macau Grand Prix. The BMW will pull into pit lane, and then we'll see just Lotus cars out on circuit, about to get 12 laps of racing underway. But at the moment, as we saw in the GT race yesterday, a BMW leads the field. Yesterday it was Augusto Farfus. Today it's the safety car, and it pulls off into the pit lane. Side by side they'll come. Good order as well for the start of 12 laps for the Sun City Group Greater Bay Area Lotus Cup. As they come up towards the line, the lights will go out and we'll get 12 laps of racing underway. On pole, Matt Carlock in the white number 4 car. They're racing, green flag is shown, and they go racing down towards turn 1. The advantage held by Matt Carlock, but it's almost going to be side by side for second place. Not quite. They get themselves into single file as they head down towards the run to Lisboa, and there's going to be a challenge for the lead, or is there, as they go down. That's from the outside of the front row of the grid. That's car number 50, Kong Kin Chong, who just has a look, and also looking very pacey is Alexander Au from the second row of the grid. As they get down towards Lisboa, advantage held by pole position. Matt Carlock, car number 4, changed for third place, no doubt about that. Alexander Au looking very quick off the line, has a look down at the inside, takes the place. So third place made up from the fourth position on the grid by Alexander Au in car number 3. He's fighting back is Low Car Fai in car number 10, but the position is held into the mountain section, and there aren't too many overtaking opportunities when they get into the tunnel.
One slow man at the back, number 23, James Wong. He started very slowly across the line. He's still going. I noticed he got down to Lisboa. We'll keep an eye on James Wong. All identical cars, as we mentioned, but the 23 was the one I noticed right at the back, very slow off the line.
Top 2 have broken away, class of their own already. Matt Carlock, 2:47.307 was the pole time, alongside Kong Kin Chong with a 2:47.938. When you go back to the second row of the grid, you're into the 2:48s, and this is being reflected now already on the opening lap. These two have got ultimate pace of the rest of the field.
4 seconds ahead in that first couple of sectors.
A huge gap already pulled out, but we've got a battle on for the lead because it's between the front row of the grid. And one thing they do have in this Sun City Group Greater Bay Area Lotus Cup is very good technology, modern technology that we see on races throughout the world, but they've adopted it here for the Lotus cars, and that's the illuminated position being demonstrated on the windscreen, in addition to the race number as well, making it great for the huge amount of supporters in the grandstands that are enjoying this local race. I'm sure they've got loads of local supporters as well. Friends and family all turn out to cheer on their favourite driver, and at the moment I think there'll be quite a lot of support for these top 2 because they are very much in a class of their own.
Yeah, someone have to keep an eye on what's going on in the midfield, because this is going to dominate proceedings, these two. And look at them side by side now as they come to our bend.
It's Matt Carlock that's just got the advantage, but you're right, they did go side by side briefly as they complete 1 lap now. 2 tied together as one go across the line down towards turn 1. Once again, they're going to be side by side. Matt Carlock just under the bumps in the road. You see the car bouncing around, and he's got to keep a very close eye in his mirrors as well, because from the outside of the front row of the grid, Kong Kin Chong is having another look. He's right there in the wheel tracks of the race leader. Matt Carlock has got his work cut out here. Super stuff, the advantage that they hold over the rest of the field. Very impressive at the end of lap number 1. 4.5 seconds the advantage the leaders have. There's going to be a change. There's a challenge, and at Lisboa we've got a new race leader. Konkin Chong, car number 50. A beautiful manoeuvre. Not quite so neat and tidy, the challenge for third place, but the leaders changed from the outside of the front row. Konkin Chong.
Great stuff, and a change of the lead, and the pace that these guys are on. I was just checking the backfield as they came through, and the field has already spread out massively, and I've got a feeling that even though this is a 12-lap race, we may well see some back markers getting in the way of these two leaders as they take strips off each other. There's already our first accident.
Yeah, so from the 7th row of the grid, that's Brian Lai, who has hit the barrier. The car will need to be recovered.
And yeah, and is that a little bit of fluid down from the car?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, or potentially a delaminated tyre, which has caused that. Could possibly be.
He's off the race line, which is a good news.
And the interesting thing is that now we're on the first full flying lap to get an eye on who else is going quickly. 4 sectors the gear circuit is split into as the race leaders make their way up through this twisty and demanding section. None such demanding corner as the one you've just seen them coming out of, which is the right-hander of Police into Moorish, and then the long left-hander at Donna Maria up towards the Melco hairpin. Always a yellow flag demonstrated on the run up towards the hairpin.
Good battle for 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th place coming into view now at Melco.
Yep, and they thread their way around. No overtaking here, but this is where they set themselves up for the start of a very good lap, and the best overtaking manoeuvres take place down at the start of the lap, particularly down at Lisboa, where last time we saw very neatly and tidily the place change for the lead of the race. There's the 3rd place car from the inside of the 2nd row of the grid, Locar Phi.
Yeah, and he set the fastest first split.
He did.
29.0.
And it's the 2nd place car, which is across the line at the end of lap 1, that's now in the lead, that put in the fastest sector in sector 3. 53.918 by the race leader. Side by side, right the way down the order they are.
Look at this, 3-way across the line, almost in demonstration. Fantastic sight here at Macau, giving the crowd in the right-hand side just above a real thrill.
And as they go on to the start of the next lap, it's been good, clean racing so far. There's going to be another challenge as they're going to go. Are they going to go 3 abreast once again? This is the major overtaking opportunity on the circuit here at the gear circuit.
Car 2 out. That's Brian Lai. We knew that.
And confirmation the car has retired, is being recovered as well. Eurico de Jesus, you see in car number 99 from the 3rd row of the grid. Always quick here at Macau, side by side into Lisboa. We were lucky to get away with that.
Battle for 4th place, and it's a cracker. And these guys 3 wide as they cross the line. Awesome.
Eurico de Jesus now on his own. He's got a little bit of a gap now, so close is the battle behind him as they come up into the tight and twisty mountain section of the circuit. Great battles these. The leader has been through and completed 2 laps now. The last lap for the leader was a 2:50.264, but it was the 3rd place car of Locar Phi. That's the red and white car that you see battling out in 3rd place that got the fastest lap of the race on the first real flying lap at 2:50.115.
So what a cracking start, and it's always great when you have identical cars because you know no one's got an advantage. It really is man against the track, and any advantage is given away, especially down the straights, because everybody can keep up on the same pace and try to maybe make a slipstream and make a move. And we have a really good battle here between these two. Nothing between them, and at the moment Kong holding off, having taken the lead early on, but far from over. Similar lap times, 2:51 versus 2:50.2, but it can change dramatically. 10 laps to go.
Donna Maria for the 2 that are in a class of their own. Their advantage over 3rd place at the end of the last lap was 3.8 seconds, nearly 4 seconds their advantage as they came across the line. They make their way through the Melco hairpin, and it is from the outside of the front row of the grid, Konkin Chong, who leads the race from Macau Lock, who took pole position but is not giving up. He's right there in 2nd place. The 2 of them have got themselves a good advantage advantage over the rest of the field. They can all battle it out together. Eureka de Jesus, that's 4th and 5th place as they head up towards the final few turns of the circuit. The race leader already coming down, about to complete another lap. 3 laps in the book.
And watch for Lokar Fai in 3rd place. He did the fastest lap last time out, and he's catching quickly on the leaders. So long way to go yet. The yellow flag at MP4, which is at, where I think Lai is stuck.
And on the run down towards Lisboa.
And look at Lokar Fai, 2:48.0.
Fastest lap of the race, 2:48.002 to be precise for the 3rd place car, as the leaders already down and through. Briefly, there was a yellow flag on the run down towards Lisboa. That was retracted. Quite a bit of debris on the circuit as well. I think that may well be as a result of that yellow flag that we've just seen indicated on the screen, which has gone green now in sector 1.
Lokar Fai, here he comes. We're taking a look at the number 10 as he dives into Lisboa, but look how much ground he's made up on the leaders. It's going to be a 3-way battle very soon indeed as they head out of San Francisco.
That's the leader, car number 50, Kong Kin Chong, who leads Macau Lock in 2nd place. And you're right, it is going to be a trio with that fastest lap, 2:48.002. 3rd place is closing, ever closing, which is going to put Matt Carlock in the unenviable position of trying to attack and having to defend as they make their way through the very tight and twisty mountain section of the circuit. It almost is a trio now. Very, very speedy indeed.
Yes, the top 5 all under 250. Everybody else nowhere near the pace of that top 5. Lee in 5th place with a 2:49.9, and then the top man out there, 2:48.002. That, of course, is 3rd place, Lokar Fai.
3rd place, Lokar Fai, not only put in the fastest lap of the race on that last lap, but also fastest overall in the 1st sector on this lap in his pursuit of the 2 leaders. Then we had a fastest 2nd sector put in by the car in 2nd place, the white machine, number 4, Matt Carlock. We know he's quick. He took pole position with a 2:47.307. Fastest lap of the race so far is a 2:48.002. Looking at the top 2, race leader Kong Kin Chong makes his way up towards the very tight and demanding Macau hairpin. You're not going to take a place away, you're not allowed to. However, you can set yourself up for a great final sector of the lap, and more importantly, set yourself up for a good 1st sector of the next lap.
And look at the leaders. The 3rd place man fastest in the 1st sector, the 2nd place man fastest in the 2nd sector, and the 1st place man fastest in the 3rd sector. Everybody choosing a different sector, but everybody on it.
Yeah, which is exactly what we want to see, and surprising in identical machinery. You really do get to see the driver shine in these kind of races, and with these Lotus Exige cars, proper racing cars. Very impressive little cars, these, and with a 3.5 litre engine, we're really seeing a very good demonstration of clean driving by these top 3.
Look at that, Lokar Fai, 2:46.4, goes fastest again in 3rd place, and he's really coming on both the top 2 men, up the times to 2:47, but that was a brilliant 2:46.4 by Lokar Fai in 3rd place and the number 10.
He's very determined. He's got himself a prestigious 3rd place on the podium, but he's not happy with that. And at the moment, if we're green right the way until the end of the race, which thus far we've been very lucky, we've done well.
You've done it now.
But no, I reckon we'll be all right, because they are really behaving themselves very well indeed. Well, who would want to dent one of these beautiful Lotus cars?
I hear it. Second the motion, sir.
Keep it neat and tidy, and remain beautifully prepared liveries as they make their way up now, with 4 laps in the book of this 12-lap race. Closing up in 2nd place is Matt Carlock in car number 4, closing up on the back of the race leader, Kong Kin Chong. Fastest lap of the race has gone the way of the 3rd place car, now in the same frame on your screens as you watch this battle for the lead of the race for the Sun City Group Greater Bay Area Lotus Cup. This car leading the race, number 50, Kong Kin Chong, qualified on the outside of the front row of the grid, and it's Matt Carlock in 2nd place, who has just put in the fastest 2nd sector, overall best, 49.947 in 2nd place. Certainly not giving up. Plenty of laps left. We've already been treated to a great battle for 2nd place in the first of our WTCR races today. Ivan Muller doing his best to get into second place and not able to do so, but it was not for the want of trying. Super race we've already had today, and this one is turning out to be a beauty as well.
Yeah, and you know, we talked about how the two local races that we have here, the touring car race we had yesterday, that was very much dominated by Hong Kong. This one, on the other hand, very much dominated by Macau. Hong Kong are in it with Low Car Fi in third place, so it is Hong Kong once again against Macau. So it's Macau 1 and 2, Hong Kong third, Macau fourth with Eureka Jesus in fourth place, and then 3 Hong Kong drivers straight afterwards. So the battle is on between the two big cities here on the southern coast in the Greater Bay Area, Hong Kong and Macau.
And one representative of mainland China as well in the mix, and that's the car which is currently down there in 15th place. It's car number 9, and it's Hong Shuzhoi from China, holding up the honour for the mainland.
Good lap by the leader at 2:46.4. He's up the pace dramatically on second place. And also going with him, Low Car Fi, and I won't think it's going to be long before he catches Mac, possibly on this lap.
It's been very impressive work from the second row of the grid by Low Car Fi. He's done well. He's closed up on the back of the car that took pole position, and the leader, as you say, a very good lap. Overall best in Sector 3. And you can see the graphic representation of that now with the gap between first and second as they head down towards this iconic corner, or corners, with Lisboa, San Francisco at the bottom of San Francisco Hill. The top 3, as predicted by you, Johnny, are all together now. Fastest in the first sector is the car in third place, car number 10, that's Low Car Fi.
Yes, and he, of course, representing Hong Kong, chasing the 2 Macau drivers. And look at him go now as they head through maternity. I think it's only going to be a matter of time. This next lap, he'll be able to challenge for second place. And we've still got a long way to go in this, but it's really just a 3-way race, no question. 7 seconds back, the chasing group, led by Eureka de Jesus in 4th position.
Frustrating for Macau Lock, because he's seeing that gap growing in front of him between himself and the race leader, and knowing that he really cannot afford to put a wheel wrong, because ever closing is the number 10 car of Low Car Fi in third place. So national honours at stake, and of course the prestige of taking a podium position. These 3 are giving us a masterclass around the gear circuit here at Macau. Through the tricky right-hander of Police and Moorish into the long left-hander Donna Maria, then towards the Melco hairpin. Single file, and the race leader, maybe for the first time since he's got through into the lead of the race, does have a little breathing space. It's not much, but it's a bit.
Yes, and I think that's going to change as the race goes on, and there may be another incident which could slow things down. And that's also in the back mind of every one of these drivers. They've raced here many times before, and they know that they can't let up any, because there's always a chance of somebody creating an incident, slowing things down, creating a safety car, or either way, creating a yellow flag which you can't overtake on. So therefore, everybody be talking of overtaking. There's plenty going on in the midfield.
Battles right the way down the order as we watch them, there really are battles right the way down the order. You're looking at the 99 car of Eureka de Jesus, who started on the third row of the grid in 4th place. What a battle this is. Side by side they go, and up towards the completion of 6 laps. Leaders already through, so 3 laps completed by the top 3. Again, they're trading faster sectors as well. Low Car Fi, Macau Lock, and the race leader Kon Kin Chong, all getting an overall fastest sector.
Here comes Low Car Fi. He's got the lights on. He just did the fastest lap at 2:45.6, and as they go through to Lisboa, he is really on the blaze right now, both with headlights on and looking to try to get into second place. His 2:45.6 was equal effectively to the 2 men in front of him. They've all gone into the low 2:45s now.
And the good news for the race leader is that this is going to slow them up. The fact that Macau Lock is having to defend is going to mean that that's advantage of 1.6 seconds that the race leader had at the end of 6 laps he could use this to his advantage and consolidate it, because Lokar Fai is really putting the pressure on now. So he's responded, has Matt Carlock in this mountain section. He's very good in the twisty section. It's when you get to the end of the circuit on the sweeps that maybe the advantage is held by Lokar Fai in third place, but he's responded to that challenge for second place and is now closing up on the back of the race leader once again. 6 laps in the book, up towards the top part of the circuit, the very tricky police corner, scene of so many incidents here on the gear circuit in every discipline.
Especially this year.
Yeah, this year in particular, caught out quite a few notable drivers. Gordon Shedden yesterday.
Somebody's gone off at Lisboa. There's a yellow flag waving.
Yellow flag at Lisboa. Potentially we could get that withdrawn quite quickly. Very quick to retrieve cars down at Lisboa and get the green flag waved before the leaders come round. They thread their way through the eye of a needle at Melco Hairpin. Down from Melco, very quick part of the circuit through Black Sands, Fisherman's, and then the final turn at Isle Bend.
And Lokar Fai is on his best lap so far. He really is pushing on in third place now. This is as close as he's been. He's got 2 fastest sectors in this lap alone, and I think if he's going to make a challenge, now's the time to do it.
So as we watch them come round the Melco Hairpin down the order, the race leaders are up to complete now. 7 laps out of 12. 7 laps without a big problem out on track. This has been a very, very clean race for the Sun City Group Greater Bay Area Lotus Cup. Brilliant little racing cars around the gear circuit. Looking at the 88 car currently in 8th place of Wong Kar Hong.
You know, the gap between those top 3 and the rest of the chasing pack, those 3 are already down to the Lisboa almost, and here comes 4th place.
And the 4th place battle comes across the line now, as we see an improved position for car number 18 now. That's Clement Tong from the 4th row of the grid. He's got himself up into 4th place, having a very good race indeed, and so too is Wong Kar Hong, who is currently now in 5th place across the line.
27 seconds to Tong in 4th place. Amazing how the top 3 have really taken it to the rest of the field.
Yeah, in another division. Very impressive this, and as you said, an impressive lap by the 3rd place car that we see there, now into 2nd place, through past Matt Carlock, with the fastest lap of the race at the end of the last lap. Absolutely flying is Lokar Fai.
You know what?
2:45, 2:43 that last lap.
One of the Macau drivers, and that's why there's such a gap. Eureka de Jesus is in the pits.
So not having the best of weekends. He's experienced success in various different support races over the years here at Macau, but 2018 not proving to be the year for number 99, Eureka de Jesus. And now he's into 2nd place. What can Lokar Fai do about the leader of the race?
Well, he made it look good, didn't he? And he's been coming and coming and coming, and it wasn't long before he got past, and he made it look easy.
Kong it is that leads, and the gap at the end of the last lap was 1.3 seconds back to 2nd place. And Matt Carlock there in 3rd as they head around the Melco Hairpin, down the hill through Black Sands to Fisherman's, and the conclusion of lap number 8. The real standout drive so far has been that of Lokar Fai from the 2nd row of the grid. Qualified 3rd, he's into 2nd.
And it's very much Macau versus Hong Kong now for the win. And I don't think this race is over by any means with 5 laps to go, because Lokar Fai, and I've watched him race this circuit many, many a year, will want to have victory and the pride of beating the Macau driver. And now it is a real straight fight.
Now, Kong Kin Chong, the leader of the race, has responded and knows that Lokar Fai behind is absolutely flying. And the leader has responded by putting in 2 overall best sectors on sectors 3 and 4 on that last lap, and in turn putting in his personal best lap. He knows the pressure is on, does the race leader. 2:45, 6:25. It's all about these two now, isn't it? They're pulled away from the man that took pole position from Matt Carlock. He's almost a little distant now in third place. Through Lisboa they go. The race is on for the top step of the podium.
Macau's Wong picks up fourth place, but he's now 30 seconds behind this battle we're watching, ahead of Tong in fifth, Youth sixth place, Ao in seventh place, then Siu in eighth position, Lo, Liang and Locke round out the top 11 so far. Big gap.
Alex Ao drops down the order, and we've got now 8 laps completed by the race leader, and the leading pair thread their way through the twists and the turns of the Solitude S's. Pale, the left-hander, that leads them up towards Police. And the race leader, with his personal best on the last lap, needs to pull everything out that he's got over these last few laps. 3.5 laps remain. 8 laps are in the book of this 12-lap race. Had to take the position early on in the race. Had a little bit of breathing space, but now the pressure is really on because Lo Ka-Fai has been flying.
And that's the man from the back, number 23, who had that slow start, and he's still going round, but already a lapped car. And I think we've got to keep an eye out for potentiality of the leaders being slowed down by back markers, because the field is so spread out now. Like I said, there's 30 seconds to fourth place, and that's, I think, something that these leaders have got to keep in mind, and that's happened here at Melco with the third place man.
Matt Carlock being held up by James Wong in car 23 on the run up towards the Melco hairpin, because of course you can't overtake. Even if you're putting a lap on somebody, you can't overtake on the run through Melco hairpin. So Matt Carlock has, it's just luck of the draw really when you come across the slower traffic, but Matt Carlock has drawn the short straw there.
And look how much he's lost time.
Yeah, he's lost a huge amount of track time. Just coming up towards the back marker at the wrong point of the circuit. So pressure on for Matt Carlock. He's on the podium. It's not going to be good enough, is it? Across the line, needs to take the top step of the podium, and it's looking more and more unlikely now.
Another fastest lap by Lo Ka-Fai, taking it to him now, 2:44.8, and now the gap 1.6 seconds with 3 laps to go.
That's in the chase of the race leader. That's third place, having put the 23 car one lap down.
And somebody stopped just at the top of the hill at
Alexander Ao,
Marshall Post 8.
We said Alexander dropped down the order and was out. Well, that's confirmation coming through on the screen that number 3 is unfortunately going no further. Looking at the third place car, took pole position, did Matt Carlock, through Lisboa up towards San Francisco, rising the hill.
Yes, going into the race itself, you'd have thought that Matt was going to run away with it. The qualifying, when free practice was so simple for him, he just looked so dominant, but now struggling to stay with the leaders in third place and has lost a lot of time. Here come those leaders.
Lo Ka-Fai puts in the overall best in the first sector. Such is this challenge for the lead of the race in the final few laps here around the Circuito de Guia here at Macau. If you're just tuning in, welcome along. This, the Sun City Group Greater Bay Area Lotus Cup, and a fine display of racing around the gear circuit.
And a big mistake
by the leader. So a big sideways moment. Tyres potentially not at their best at this stage in the race, and providing a real gift of being able to close the gap for a flying Lo Ka-Fai. Wow, what a moment, and what a way to get away with it.
But Lo Ka-Fai has suddenly slowed.
So Lo Ka-Fai in second place. He got the advantage, was able to make the most of the big moment for the race leader.
He's disappeared, look.
But now he's on his own as he heads up towards the Melco hairpin. Drama, ever drama at the gear circuit.
And he's being caught. He's being caught by Mac. If they come down to Melco, he can't attack him here, but surely now Lo Ka-Fai, who set the fastest fast split, is suddenly slowed at the bottom of Police, and now is probably going to be overtaken for second place again.
So drama unfolds as ever at Macau. We've had a super race by the Sun City Group Greater Bay Area Lotus Cup, and now we're looking at Lo Ka-Fai. Does the car look okay? Let's have a look as they come up towards the conclusion of 10 laps now on the last lap was able to put in the best lap of the race with a 2:44.865. How does that compare at the conclusion of this lap?
Strange lap that by Locar Fi. Another car has parked it and looks as though he's crashed as well, because there's a few skid marks there. I'm not quite sure what number that is, but strange lap that. It's Locar Fi doing a 2:52.4, but it must have been something like with the gearbox or something, because look there, he's still going. He's still going strong now. Here's having a look at the crash that happened. Yes, just hitting the barriers there and then spinning it round.
And we've had remarkably few of those incidents during this race. 10 laps complete, 12-lap race in total, and now the car which has been flying race long, putting in a lap time 8 seconds slower than the best lap of the race, which belongs to the second place car of Locar Fi.
Which he remains in second place, but as you say, he lost 8 seconds in that last lap, and now the battle is on for third place. But the battle at the front, which looks so close, safety car is being sent out by the looks of things.
So safety car deployed, so we go full course yellow with 1.5 laps remaining in this Sun City Group Greater Bay Area Lotus Cup. Now, how good a job will the safety car do of bunching up those top three? The top two both got away with something on that last lap to still be in the same positions that they are now. That's the race leader. Very, very lucky to get away with that moment that he endured.
That was the whole race right there on those two corners, wasn't it? Car 36 has also stopped out on track.
Lockheed kit.
Yep.
In the lime green machine. And that is your race leader, everybody, with a full course yellow at the Circuito de Guia. Towards Donna Maria from Moorish. The long left-hander up towards the Melco hairpin. We've been looking at Lotus for the last 10.5 laps. In a moment, we'll see a BMW getting involved. The safety car deployed with a full course yellow for the recovery of that car. And the recovery has not got that far so far, has it?
Yeah, and I would say that that's pretty much going to put paid to the rest of the race, actually.
I think so. I think we've got our podium. And I think we may well have our race winner as well. And well deserved as well. Kong Kin Chong responding to the pressure that was mounting from behind with Locar Fi. One little moment which could have been a huge moment.
I was going to say, it wasn't little if you were in the car.
Little in terms of time, huge in terms of luck to get away with that. Because sometimes you need a bit of luck here at Macau. Kong Kin Chong qualified on the front row of the grid. Had to take second best in qualifying to Matt Carlock. There's the BMW standing by and ready to pick up the field for what will be the final lap. There's your race leader. Yellow flags around. We've heard from a number of drivers, in fact, how much pacier the circuit is this year.
Yeah, that's true.
Because we did just see those marbles of rubber that have settled offline at the circuit, but drivers have been telling us that the circuit this year much cleaner than in recent years.
A couple of cars getting in the way of crossing the line at the exit of pit lane. That probably be a reprimand, but yep, falling foul for the rules, but not a big problem, especially as we're now finishing under safety by the looks of things.
Hong Shu Zhao, that is, and the 38 car of Clearbol Chan from down the order. Car 38 in 13th place. Car number 9 in 12th place. Chinese driver.
Such was the gap. I wonder if we'll get everybody caught up by the time we get round, but this is going to finish under safety because this is the final lap.
Through Lisboa, behind the BMW safety car, go the top three. Up towards San Francisco. BMW who lend their beautiful cars to so many safety car duties around the world, not just here at Macau, but notably in Formula E, they had the perfect car for it, didn't they, Formula E, really from the start of the championship with the BMW i8, and also to MotoGP as well, provide a whole fleet of course cars. It's a great world stage to present these ultimate driving machines. And they lead a field of Lotus around the circuit as they go through the twisty section. 11 laps in the book. The fastest lap of the race has gone the way of the, I think it's fair to say, star of the show.
Yes.
During this race.
And I don't know what happened, whether it's a gearbox issue or what, but he just suddenly slowed dramatically. Or was worried about what was going on in front of him, I don't know.
I'm not sure. The avoidance of that moment, which could have been potentially a huge moment for the race leader, might just be the answer why he dropped back. But drop back he did. The idea of collecting a car in that section of the circuit is an unenviable prospect, really, and that might be the answer for the second place car as they head up towards the big question. One of the big questions on the circuit is that right-hander at Police. And then into Moorish.
And you're asked it every lap.
Every single lap. Out of Moorish, Donna Maria, the next challenge on this section of the circuit. Constitutes the third sector of the gear circuit here at Macau.
It's relatively cambered. It's not a tough corner, but you can miss the braking point and go wide there. I've seen that happen, certainly in touring cars several times.
It's just a long corner on the run up towards where the BMW is now. The iconic Melco hairpin. Couldn't ask for a greater hairpin if you tried, really, could you?
And if you wonder what Melco means, well, it's the name of the electric company behind the wall of where this camera is actually poking out from. So all these names that we name have something to do with what is just beside each and every corner here at Macau. But obviously, after 65 years, just like Monaco, the names of the corners become synonymous with the event.
They do. Iconic, an overused word, but we can use it as much as we like about the gear circuit here at Macau, for it's always true as the BMW goes straight on for the top three.
A green for a moment.
To round the final corner and see the checkered flag, the green flag, in fact, as they go across the line, and then the checkered flag, which means the win.
Whoa! One car slowing dramatically as he goes across the line. That's number 23, but he was at the back anyway, and he's been slow all weekend, but he almost got in the way of several cars trying to vie for position there.
So we went very briefly green, and it was really an academic green flag that waved before the checkered flag came out to mark the win. And a very well-deserved win as well. Lucky boy, car number 50 takes the win from the outside of the front row of the grid. Kong Kin Chong takes victory in the Sun City Group Greater Bay Area Lotus Cup from the number 10 car.
Well, I don't know if they did look at the checkered flag because they're still racing here.
Well, they are, but the checkered flag is
definitely out.
Most certainly, as far as the timing screen, gone out.
Low Car 5 doesn't care. He's going for the win. A second win.
Well, he's been a star of this race without any shadow of a doubt. And
they're not slowing down
as they go. Well, there's a question mark over this one because whether they think that potentially another lap has been added because one was completed behind the safety car.
No.
But the timing screen is very clear.
So is the young lady with the checkered flag in her hand in front of us.
The checkered flag, yeah. That's on the start line, and the winner's gone the way of that car, Kong Kin Chong. Low Car 5 may well think that potentially, that's why we finished under safety. They didn't recover the car, so we would not have had another racing lap without that car having been removed from the circuit. But that's our winner. The rest of them can dream about racing on for the top step of the podium, but the reality is that it goes to the car that qualified on the outside of the front row of the grid. This car number 50, Kong Kin Chong, takes the win. Second place, Low Car 5. For many of us, a real star of that race in the pursuit of, first of all, second place, and then the pursuit of the leader. A lot of overtaking on this slowdown lap, isn't there, out on the circuit? As well, pick your flag, really. As the marshals make it very clear the race is over. And Locar Phi takes second spot on the podium in that order that you see them there. Pole position man, Macau Lock, good enough for third. So you know that that's going to be tinged with an element of disappointment to be on the third step of the podium. However, there will be a celebration coming up with the podium, because I think it's now okay to say a very, very clean race indeed.
Yes, you did predict it, and besides that one spin, one hit of the barriers which caused the safety, pretty impressive and very skillful. I love to see these one-make series out on the track. It really does give us a battle of the drivers, and we got it today. And the lone Hong Kong representative in the top 5, Locar Phi, doing a really good job, and I'm sure he wanted another 10 laps to try and challenge for the win, but it wasn't to be. I'd love to see a celebrity race, bring back all the XF3 drivers and touring car drivers and put them all in these Lotuses.
We were talking about that this morning when I arrived, with many people that are involved with the Macau Grand Prix from year to year. We remembered the celebration of the 60th Macau Grand Prix when we had a celebrity race. Maybe we'll do it again soon. Be nice if we did. And these are the perfect cars. I think you've just had it proven to you.
Yep.
That's our winner. And you can hear the elation of the team as they welcome back their star, Kong Kin Chong, who takes the win. Smiles all around as the safety netting is unclipped to see a victorious local driver emerging from the car. Super stuff in the number 50 Lotus Exige. I think these cars have demonstrated this weekend they're really rather well suited. Go on then, on the roof, that's the money shot. And yeah, there's a roof that doesn't give. Very strong cars, these Lotus Exige cars. Very tough indeed.
Yeah, it's a beautiful looking car, and we've really given Lotus a fantastic advert for what they could put on as a sports car. It's really beautiful to watch all of these cars going around the famous Macau Grand Prix.
You're seeing such a graphic representation of just what this means to a local driver, a Macanese driver, a Hong Kong driver. There's so much at stake, and so wonderful for their sponsors as well. Yeah, quite right too. Big, wide smiles for our top 3 for the Sun City Group Greater Bay Area Lotus Cup. What a great addition this has been.
Yeah, superb. And, you know, I always like the fact that, like I said, a one-make series does make it about the driver, but it also makes it about the mark. And Lotus, you saw many of them in Lotus overalls.
Confirmation of the result. The winner, car number 50 from the outside of the front row of the grid. Just saw him celebrating in Park Fairmay. Kong Kin Chong from car number 10, flying through the 12 laps of that race. Locar Phi from the inside of the second row of the grid. From pole position man in third, Macau Lock. We'll see them on the podium in a couple of moments. Car number 88 from the 5th row of the grid, having a superb race in car number 88. That's Wong Kar Hong from Macau. And then in 5th place, the number 77 car of Su Leng Hong, and completing the top 6, car number 18 from the 4th row of the grid, Clement Tong. Right the way down to the 19th place, and a few retirements you can see there. Cars 22 and 8 are under investigation from further down the order in 8th and 9th places respectively. But as far as the podium is concerned, we're pretty sure about the top 3 drivers, and we can tell from the smiles we just saw in Park Fairmay, drivers making their way up to the podium. Presentation. Let's have a look back at the love of the Sun City Group Greater Bay Area Lotus Cup. So many highlights of that race, and 3 drivers elated down in Parc Fermé to get on the prestigious Macau Grand Prix podium. That's coming up in a couple of moments, and what a lovely opportunity for local drivers. Macau against Hong Kong, with sole representation of mainland China as well during that race. And if you're interested to know where our Chinese driver finished, 12th place for number 9 at the end of 12 laps of racing. Only one under safety car, which was a very, very good result indeed. We're getting ready for our podium. We're also getting ready for the championship finale for WTCR, but the podium is set. Drivers backstage, standing by for the dulcet tones of circuit commentator Ian Titchmarsh.
At Macau, the Sun City Group Greater Bay Area Lotus Cup. And could I call the top 3 for the podium forward in the 3-2-1 order?
Reverse order, we're going to get the drivers onto the podium.
Macau.
3rd place, car number 4, Macau. Applauds the crowd, applauds himself as well. 2nd place, car number 10. What a star of the race he was, and quite rightly gets a huge cheer from the crowd. Low car 5, and then to our winner, car number 50, Kong Kin Chong, delighted with the win for a local driver. A little leap onto the top step of the podium to the elation of the team.
To make the presentation to the
thumbs up from all of them, and now the presentation of trophies.
Famous actor from Hong Kong, to do the honours, please.
A famous Hong Kong actor, Mr. Lok Yi Lai, makes the presentation after congratulating all of the drivers. To 3rd place to Matt Carlock, pole position and 3rd place. Not a bad weekend's work for Matt Carlock. 2nd place driver, Low Car 5, about to receive the award from another famous Hong Kong actress, and that's from Ms. Samantha Koh, who makes the presentation to Low Car 5. What a star drive that was into 2nd place and then to the winner. Another famous Hong Kong actor, Mr. Him Law, to present to our winner, number 50, Kong Kin Chong, on the top step of the podium. A garland of victory around the neck, and a huge silver trophy for the cabinet at home. Well deserved, and a wonderful memory from this weekend as well, with 3 very famous actors from the region as they pose together with the cameras. There are many photographers here, and the global television pictures beamed around the world, streamed on Facebook Live throughout this weekend. A lovely moment for local driving talent from the region, Hong Kong, Macau and mainland China as well. Famous actors and actresses here throughout the weekend.
Is on its way, so
champagne on its way to the podium, but I have a feeling that they're going to just enjoy the champagne